Today, I want to talk about the ancient Greeks. You see, this was a period in time where we got culture, we got democracy, we got currency, we got Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates, we got the Greek gods, we got theatre, there's so much in this period of time, and it's no surprise that the Romans came afterwards and built on that energy. But in this period of time, zest for life, zeal for making something of life, for making ourselves beautiful, for making our bodies beautiful, for making our minds beautiful, was a given. The university and the gym were just integrated. They were both at the same. If you were going for perfection, if you were going for beauty, you were going for it on all fronts. And in that culture, I want to talk about what they had for entertainment, what their theatre was all about. Because when we think of theatre, we think of Shakespeare, and we think of your comedies and your tragedies, whether the ending was good for a comedy or whether the ending was sad for a tragedy. But that is not how the Greeks perceived their theatre. You see, for the Greeks, they had a different duo. They had the hero, they had Hercules. And we all know Hercules. There is nothing that Hercules cannot do. There is no challenge that he cannot face up to. There is nothing he cannot transcend. And we all recognize this. This is every character in every Disney movie or every other movie. Young was all about the hero's journey, and that we needed to integrate and find our own hero's journey. This is really important. If you're interested in that, definitely search more. I've talked on it, and it's no surprise that we need something to aspire to. I mentioned in the last video that that's kind of what your soul is. It is your relationship with your future self, and it is something that you admire or aspire into, that you surrender into that fictitious, that little story, that soul, that something that's not tangible. It's not you now, it's not you in the future. It is the relationship between them, that you surrender into that, or you surrender into a character, or into an archetype, or into just this pattern of all of these great men, great stories, great whatever it is. This ability to overcome any challenge, to transcend, to become bigger, to become more than. That is your hero story. And that is one half of their entertainment. You see, if you never step up to the hero's story, then you forever remain the secondary character. You forever remain the victim of your circumstance, because you cannot overcome. These challenges will naturally come, and because you cannot overcome them, they will become oppressive, and they will become too much, and you will get crushed. So, you must integrate the hero story. You must be familiar with that pattern and surrender into it. And allow it to transform you. Allow the weak parts of you to die off. That's what it means to surrender into, to aspire. Anyway, I digress. That is one side. On the other side, we have hubris. We have Icarus. Do we remember the story of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun? His wings made of wax melted. You see, Icarus thought that there was no challenge he could not overcome, that he was invincible, that he was a god, that he would always triumph because he always had. And that is hubris. So on one side you have the hero, I can always overcome. On the other side you have that to the extreme, and when reality pulls that rug from under you. So think of it as humility. Because, my friends, we are finite beings. We are mortal. We are merely here. And while we are here, we are vulnerable. So we need to be mindful of that. We need to not forget that part about us. And we have a very fun character in our entertainment sphere, in our political sphere at the moment, who has definitely forgot that about himself. Because if Trump is one thing, he is hubristic. I'm not trying to make an argument from my perspective. I'm trying to say that from his perspective, I imagine that he thinks he's the hero of his own story at all times, that there is no challenge he cannot overcome, that he will just bull through. And anyway, look, I'm not going to make this political. We don't need to. And honestly, he's not the only example. And there are people who embody that message in a far more dark and sinister tone, where they think that power is just the fundamental force of the world, and there is nothing that they cannot do and will not do to be the hero of their own story. And that's a very, very dark sort of place to be in. Either way, so we can think about that. And then on the other side, people who are stuck in this humility, who are stuck in this, like, oh, geez, we better make sure that we don't ever do that. Well, there's no public image of them because they'd be too humble to step up to it, wouldn't they? But you might know someone in your own private life. You might recognize it in yourself. I definitely recognize it in myself. There are plenty of times where I have not stood up. There are plenty of times, plenty of conversations where I have not been upfront with what's needed, what's wanted, that I've been too humble, where I've just been like, maybe not. Maybe I can carry this extra. Maybe I can do this extra work. Maybe like, as in, man, I did too much work there at work there like 2-3 weeks ago. It was madness. And it was just me just being like, I'm able to do it. And then by the end of the week, I was like, oh, I'm never doing that again. So it happens. Don't worry about it. Either way, they are two poles. Getting stuck in either one is a mistake. Prioritizing one over the other is a mistake. You are there to fluctuate between the two. So for this week, I'm going to give you 2 exercises, one for each. On the hero side, we're going to go to the extreme. We're going to go and be arrogant and be hubristic and be just a bit much. I'm going to ask you to write down one thing that you like about yourself, one thing that you are proud of, and one thing about your personality that you like. And I want you to write these down. It works better if you write it down. I want you to brag about this. I want you to say, if you say, I like my hair, I want you to say, it is the shiniest. It is like L'Oreal would not have anything on this. They're begging, they're pleading for me to be their spokesperson. If you say that I am proud of how sporty I am, I'm proud of these awards I have, well then you must be the best. If you are proud of the fact that you relax on a Saturday with a movie and with a bottle of wine and with the food, good. If irony comes up for you, go with it. Doesn't matter. Be proud. Be bragocious. Be too much. Be just absolutely bombastic in your description of this. I am the best at relaxing on a Saturday evening. People attempt to try to land in this space that I own, that I have perfected. I am the reason that everyone is chasing this comfort zone, because they see me and they cannot help but admire. They cannot help but be blinded by the perfection of this moment, of this ability, of me. So, yes, I know. To the extreme. We are here to stretch your range. Because just like being stuck on one side or the other is negative, being paralyzed in the middle ain't good for anyone either. So, stretch yourself all the way. There is no challenge you cannot overcome. You are a god. Yes? Have fun with this. The world needs this. There are too many people looking for comfort, looking for truth so that they can surrender into something bigger. And we all do it. I'm not trying to say that. I'm trying to say that we aim it too low in our levels of abstraction. We aim it at our local politician. We aim it at our country. We aim it at our in our immediate vicinity, and we are not daring to aim beyond those kind of immediate responses. Relationships that we have to the world, to reality. So I apologize for getting a bit esoteric there. I'll backstep a minute there. We want to stretch your range for arrogance and humility. We want you to be able to fluctuate between those two. Full fluctuation, full frequency, full scope of what's available to you, because there will be times where you need, like in a competition, you need to believe you are number one. If you are stepping up, you need to believe that you are able for what you're stepping into. You need to believe that you can overcome these challenges and that perhaps you are the spark, you are the one to transform everything. The other practice will kind of balance this out. But to make that step, to instigate, to assert yourself, you may need, and I dare say you do need to be a bit more bragocious, be a bit more arrogant, be a bit more assertive, be a bit more arrogant in its negative context. So, on the other side, where we are trying to humble ourselves, I want you to sit down and I want you to listen to these words. I'm going to leave them in the description below for you later. You can copy these and read them to yourself, or you can go back and listen to me here. But I want you to sit down with your eyes closed. Within and without, there is so much I do not see because of all the facts. Within and without, there is so much I do not see because of all the facts. Number 2. Within and without, there is so much I shall never know because of all of the faith. Within and without, there is so much I shall never know because of all of the faith. I trust that certain things will still be there, that the floor will still be flat. I move trusting that. I have faith. Number 3. Within and without, there is so much I refuse to see because of all of my foolishness. Within and without, there is so much I refuse to see because of all of my foolishness. And then number 4. Within and without, there is so much I am unable to see because of all of my faults and my finitude. Within and without, there is so much I am unable to see because of all of my faults, and because I won't be around forever. Following this practice, I want you to have your hands up. I want you to breathe in deep, and I want you to exhale until it comes to a natural end. We are using the tone here and the word awe technically. Awe is that beauty that cannot be captured. Awe is that beauty that cannot be solved. It's not a problem to be solved. It will forever and always be bigger than you can imagine. It will forever and always just be more complex. It will forever and always surprise. It will be just infinitely interesting. And that can make us feel small, can make us recognize just how complicated everything is. I frequently get this when I look at the stars. So, on that, we inhale and we recognize outside of us, without, it's so complex. And we say, ah. And then as we come in, as the breath leaves us and we come into ourselves, I want you to recognize that complexity is just as infinite, is just as endless right here. That yes, one is within the other, but both are infinitely complex and interesting. That we are in this strange little nexus point. We are in this strange mid-zone where we are trying to inhabit and we are trying to embody or personify, or we're trying to find. But both are endless. So, again, it doesn't matter the order. Do not prioritize one over the other. And when you practice these, if you practice them together, it's a great way of doing it. I will let you know that I find the bragging, the bragocious, the absurdity of the bragging exercise. I find it so much easier knowing that I have a humble exercise that puts my feet solidly on the floor. And I can really go into that humility. Knowing that I can be bigger, that even if it is complex, that I can still be the force that overcomes. So I wanted to share those with you today. I wanted to speak and try to hear the echoes of ancient Greece, of that civilization that had so much vitality and so much zest for life. And I wanted to share that with you also. So I hope you've had a good week. I hope you're excited for the week to come, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.